Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Skilton. I'm a research manager with Ancestry Pro Genealogists, the research division of Ancestry. I'm going to share my screen with you, so let's begin. Welcome to this presentation on beginning research in family history using records from Mexico. Where should you begin? Well, think about what you already know. Whatever you have in terms of names, dates, and places, that's the great place to start. History of a place and family history go hand in hand. Always keep in mind the developments in the Spanish colonies, the moment of Mexican independence, and the migration of people over time. Your ancestors may have stayed in one location for a long time, or they may have come from another country to Mexico, and they may have continued to migrate. In addition, they may have been affected by changes in government, military conflicts, and economic developments. The locations you know of or can guess at can center your research. How far was the family residence from the town centers and the churches? As soon as you know where to look for the records, you have a great advantage in the research journey, and maps can be very helpful. There are many ways to begin your search, and they all work well. Using the card catalog at Ancestry is one way to begin. You can also filter by specific location. Searching for information on ancestors with indigenous roots can be challenging, but there are records available. You may find records showing a first name only, so details about other persons in the same record can be helpful. Sometimes race was noted in records before 1821, but not always. A great place to start a research is with the 1930 Mexico census. It is searchable. It's a significant and broad-reaching census in Mexico. The census can be searched by first and last names at Ancestry, and it's always good to look at the scan itself to verify the information you see in the index. There might even be additional information you don't see in the index. This is a portion of the census image. It extends further to the right and includes many categories, including language and religion. The arrows here show important information: name, marital status, and birth location. Here is a search example. This image shows just part of the first page of several pages of results for the name of Mariano Valenzuela in the 1930 Mexico census. Adding just a little more information helps to narrow the results. It can also be very helpful to add the year of birth, even if it's just a guess. Both civil registers and sacramental or church registers contain many details which help build out a family tree. You may find your ancestors in one or the other, or in both. Restricting a search to Mexico can be helpful in producing results just for that location. Here we filtered a general search for records in Mexico to birth, marriage, and death records. It is possible to further filter the search by region. On the right, where the arrow is pointing, there is a section where you can first choose the region and then examine the record sets for that particular region. Before the mid-1800s, church records are a strong genealogy resource. Just around 1859, civil registration records joined that mix. Marriage records will include the locations of residence for bride and groom at the time of marriage. This tells you where they were in a given year, and it is very possible the parents of the bride and groom might be living close by. As you see, the search can be further refined by adding birth or marriage dates or a father or mother's name. So for this search, I added a birth date of about 1860. Those records with scanned images of the original are indicated with the small blue box at the far right of the screen. Here you see the information for this marriage on the right, including the date of the marriage and the place, the names of the bride's parents, and the name of the groom. You can view and read the original record, which is full of details. The suggested records linked to the bride's name may be helpful. You can quickly check them out to see if they're useful to you. If you click on the groom's name, you will see more information on him. So let's do that. By clicking on the groom's name, I find details listed for his parents. I can then click on his parents' names to learn more about each of them. There will be hints suggested for additional records for each. You see how quickly we can build a family tree. Mexican baptism, marriage, and burial records were originally kept at churches and missions. They can now be found online in many cases. The originals are handwritten and take a little time to read. Always compare the abstract or index to the original scan if you can. There may be more material in the original than is in the index. You see how far back records go in some regions. This baptism record is from 1770. The next slide shows the scan of this record. As you can see, Maria was given her father's surname and her mother's surname in that order. This is common in the naming pattern for families in Mexico and of course in Spain at that time. The names of the godparents can be clues to extended family or close friends of the family. Mexico once encompassed land now a part of the US. So consider checking records in Mexico, Arizona, California, and Texas if your ancestors may have lived in those areas. Even if your direct ancestors did not migrate to the area now included in the US, they may have relatives who did. The US Census of 1850 and the local state censuses can be very helpful. Border crossing records, land records, and parish and mission records also provide useful information. This map from the year Mexico was established as the first Mexican Republic is just one example of how the land holdings changed over time in what is now Mexico and the US. It is always useful to remember there may be records outside of Mexico worth researching. The names you find in records may be consistent, or they may vary a great deal. Keep in mind that a name given to a child at baptism may not be the name used later in life. On the other hand, women usually kept their maiden names throughout their lives, and those names can be seen in records over time. This is very helpful in tracing a family unit. DNA testing is coming soon to the Ancestry Mexico website. DNA testing can lead to breakthroughs in building your family tree. The ethnicity prediction at Ancestry DNA can help you in identifying countries of origin for your ancestors. The ethnicity predictions can also be helpful in identifying their communities of settlement in Mexico and in showing patterns of migration. As you get started researching family history using records from Mexico, remember, you are embarking on a marvelous journey of discovery. Thank you for participating in this kickoff for your family history research. And thank you so much for joining me.